What's up, y'all? I'm your host, Jordan, and this is Let's Look at the Tape, the show where I talk about movies and some media. I talk about what I like, what I don't like, the yays and the nays. And today, we are talking about the new movie, The Long Walk. The Long Walk. I went to go see The Long Walk, all right? First of all, it was a good movie. Before we even get into it, it was a good movie. It was a good watch. It was a good little watch, okay? I had a good time. You may think like The Long Walk, so I'm just gonna watch some people walk a whole movie. Yes, you are. But you gotta think about the circumstances that they're in. Okay? So we're gonna talk about these circumstances. So without further ado, let's look at the tape. Alright. We're gonna read the synopsis and we're gonna get into it, okay? Synopsis, according to IMDb. A group of teenage boys compete in an annual contest known as the Long Walk, in which they must maintain a certain walking speed or get shot. All right, that's the synopsis, and that's pretty much what this movie is. We're in a world now. Here's something that I do want to know. Something that I do want to know. Is this a book? It's a book. I was wondering if it was based off of a book, because this movie is one of those that this feel like is a book. Definitely Stephen King. I don't know what's going on right now. Stephen King. It's been a long day, y'all. Stephen King. Novel by Stephen King, The Long Walk. Definitely feels like it was a book first. Will I read it? I don't know. We'll find out. But I enjoyed the movie. So many questions. I don't know what's going on, yo. Let me be real with y'all real quick. Every time I get on the mic to do this show, I'm always burping. See, I don't know what that is. I apologize. I don't know what that is. But we gonna rock through it though. So many questions came up in my mind about The Long Walk when I saw the trailer. I was like, so you're telling me you gotta walk, and if you stop walking, you're done. That's crazy, because you be thinking like, okay, we walk every day. Yeah, but at some point you stop. You take a break. You go home, you sit down, you lay down, you watch TV. No, they gotta keep walking. They gotta keep on walking until the last man standing. That means that 99% of y'all are gonna die. Just that 1%. That one person makes it out. That's crazy work. This ain't I just won. No, I kept my life and I won. Let's talk about the stipulations. Let's talk about the rules of The Long Walk. First, this is set in a world where the government is weird and everything, and things have been changed in the government, and they don't want. Hold on, wait a minute. I don't know if I can say that yet. I don't know if I can say that yet. So I'm gonna stop right there before I go too far. And this is the non-spoiler part. I've been away. Haven't recorded an episode, so I'm gathering all of this back to me. It's coming back to me. I'm gathering all of this in real time. But if you're new to the show, up front, normal review, after spoiler review, and I will let you know when the spoiler is coming. So we're all going to be a part of the spoiler fam. And at that point, if you're not a part of the spoiler fam, go watch the movie and stop this episode, go watch the movie, then come back. And you can be a part of the spoiler fam with the rest of us. All right. So here we go. All right. So yeah, the government's kind of weird, and I'm going to just leave it at that, because I don't know if that's a really spoiler or not. So I'm just going to keep it safe and save it for the spoiler review. Not review, but But the government's weird. And they do this annual thing called the Long Walk. Now, here are the rules of the Long Walk. You got to maintain a speed of at least 3 miles per hour. Right? If you drop below 3 miles per hour, you get a warning. and you'll get a second warning. And at your third warning, you're done. You're done. 3 warnings, 3 strikes, you're out. If you go off the path of the long walk, which is the road, if you step 1 foot off the road, no warning, instantaneous death. Instant death. You can't run. You can't hide. Death. They got the tanks, they got the soldiers following them on this long walk. So you're being watched constantly. They see you if you slow down, and they know your number. They give you a number, they give you a dog tag with a number, and that's your number. You know how it goes. No names, you're a number. Number 4, first warning, if you slow down. Second warning, number 4. Third warning, number 4. And if you don't get back up to 3 miles per hour, you're done. Last man standing wins. And that's the crazy part. You win a cash prize enough to make you rich. Like, you're set for the rest of your life type rich. And you also get a wish. So on top of the cash prize, you get a wish, like whatever you want. You get that type of wish. So you know, for being the last one in, that's pretty good prize, but I don't think that's enough to make me do it. Apparently, it's kind of a draft, but it's also not a draft because you gotta sign up to be drafted. That's what I got from the movie. You actually have to sign up to be drafted. And apparently, they're going to sign up to be, well, I guess, patriotic or whatever. I'm not. But, they did. For my country. That's what I gathered from it, I'm not doing it. But those are the rules of the long walk, right? So we got our main man, Ray, and our main man, Pete. These are really our 2 main characters in the movie. And this is the thing about the long walk, is that there can only be one winner. And this is where, this is a drama. And as much as you think it's like, okay, 2 hours of watching people walk sounds crazy. But no. They're walking, they're actually building, which is also the if you're a part of the long walk, this is actually the dangerous part. They're building relationships, which is knowing that we're probably gonna die. We're not, we're building pretty much our last relationships because this is it. This is it. Like, it doesn't stop until the last person standing. Like, it'll just keep going as long as you want it to go. But if you're like ready for it to stop, that means death. So it's either you want to win or you want to die, because there's no out once you start. Yeah, so that's the crazy part. But our main man, Ray, and our main man, Pete. Ray is it Ray? Yeah, Ray is the first character on screen that we see. Like, as soon as the movie comes on, it's a Ray. And Ray's being dropped off by his mom, and it's a really, really tough thing. So here's one of the questions that I had. I was like, okay, because the way that the trailers kind of made it look to me, in my mind, was like, my question was like, okay, do they know that if they stop, they get killed or no? But according to the movie, and even while I'm watching it, I'm still trying to decipher, but at a certain point, they do make it clear, yes. And I guess if you read the book, then you already knew, but I didn't. But yes, they are aware of the gravity of the long walk. They are aware that if they stop walking, that means death for them. And the mom, because they know, the mom's having a really hard time with this because, her son may not make it back home. Which is, that's a hard time for anyone to really get around, to be like, I may not ever see my kid again. I may not ever see my loved one again because of walking, something that we do as human beings every day. That's crazy. That's crazy. It's crazy, y'all. It's crazy. But yeah, everyone's gathered around. I don't remember how many of them, how many men were there, how many young men were there, but there was definitely a pretty large group to start with. And like I said, they start building relationships, and it's like, okay, Ray meets Pete, and then off the bat, like, these are the two that we're really gonna hone in and focus on throughout the movie. And then everyone's kind of talking, but you know how movies go, and you can just tell, like, okay, it's these two right here. It was like that. It's these two right here. They clicked. They had two other homies, and their names I don't remember. So let's go. Let's check. In real time, because we do things in real time on this show. Nothing's fake. Also, Mark Hamill was the major in this movie. It was just to me, it was just good to see Mark Hamill. It's always good to see Mark Hamill, okay? Luke Skywalker, always good to see you. I just wanted to throw that out there. We're gonna talk about him in the spoiler, in the spoiler fam. We're gonna talk about him, spoiler fam, because y'all know the major. A major wild boy. Hold on. Where's the name? Hank. Homie Hank. And why do they? I mean, I ain't gonna tell you. I ain't gonna tell y'all what I was just thinking. What I just saw, I should say. I was about to say something. Not about Hank. Not about Hank. So yes, character Hank, and I'm looking for the other character, and I don't think this is him. Pearson. Maybe it was, though. Pearson. It had to have been. Yeah, Pearson. Hank and Pearson were the other two homies. And so Pete, Ray, Hank, and Pearson made like not a pact, but like their clique amongst the whole group of the young men on the long walk. And they called themselves the Four Musketeers instead of the three. And they even brought that up in the movie. They was like, isn't it supposed to be three Musketeers? But now it's four of us. We're going to do what we want because this is our moment. This is our last walk, so we're going to do what we want. They had like real emotion in this movie. There was more emotion than I anticipated going to see in this movie. I thought, and I'm looking at it, I said it was a drama, but they have it listed as horror sci-fi. I wouldn't say horror so much. Like, when you think horror, you're thinking either like supernatural stuff or like slasher type. And this really didn't have that. Yeah, for sure it had like the blood and everything. It's a rated R movie, which I appreciated that they took it there. But I wouldn't give it a horror, rating. I wouldn't do that. I'll stick to saying it's like a drama, honestly. Sci-fi, maybe. There's not too much crazy stuff going on. It's still grounded in like realistic things. Like, okay, this is a crazy concept to just have people walking non-stop, but realistically this is a thing that could be done. So yeah, I'm gonna say it's a drama. But anyway, back to what I was saying about the pack, the Four Musketeers. Yeah, they have a pack of the Four Musketeers. It's like, yo, we gonna stick together and hopefully we can be like the last four But even with that, it's like, okay, if you make a pact and for as long as you walk, and these are the people that you're connecting with for as however long this walk is gonna last, however close you can get to a person relationally wise within that amount of time, and those are your people, and if you do make it to the end with just those four, that's gonna hurt because you know you gotta watch each other die now. Even if you die before, it's still gonna hurt, but definitely being the last four, that's gonna hurt worse. And that's a strength of this movie, because it starts to make you care, and it starts to make, you know, you see the connections about, I mean, not about, among these guys. And it's like, yo, I don't want any of them to die. Excuse me. I'm sorry, y'all. My bad. My bad. I don't want to see them go. But that's what they did because, you know, why not? Ray, I would say Ray is our like main character. Pete was also our main character. Like I said, from the beginning, you could tell it's Pete and Ray. But I feel like Ray was the main. That's just how I feel. Because you can have two main characters, absolutely. You know, two main characters. Tom and Jerry, you know, main characters. Two. Cat dog. Two. 2 and 1. 2 for 1. But so they were both the main, but I just feel like Ray, I don't know what it is. Maybe because he's the first one that we saw. I don't know. Y'all let me know what y'all think. I don't know. But these two right here, they were unbreakable. They were unshakable. And they just met each other a day ago. Crazy. There's this one dude in here called Gary. Am I reading right? Yeah, Gary. Gary was the character that got on my nerves to no end. But then something happens, which we'll cover. And it's like, oh, dang, Gary. And Gary don't know how to handle it. So Gary just kind of goes about his way and just keeps on walking. We gonna touch on that in just a few minutes, because I got a lot to say about this movie. But let's get back to the questions that I had. So that was the first question that I had earlier. Like, all right, what was the first question? Like, did they know? That was the first question. Do they know about the dying part? But they do. They do know, which is even crazier that you would sign up for this. But another question I had was like, all right, do they get any breaks at any point? Because I'm like, the human body. You know, the human body, when nature calls. But no, there's no break. There's no break. And if this is a spoiler for y'all, if that's a spoiler, if you consider that spoiler, my bad. But I'm just letting you know right now. No. The answer is no. We'll talk about it in a minute. But they answered that question for me. What was the what was the other question I had? Yeah, the same thing for sleep. I was like, okay, do they get like a sleep thing? So I won't answer that now because I'm not sure if the whole bathroom thing was too much of a spoiler answer for you. So I'll save the thing about sleep for the spoiler fam. But yeah, these are the questions that I had, because you think, okay, if I'm constantly walking, like, do I get a break? Do I get a chance to eat? You know, things like this, the stuff that I need. Or is this just sort of true survival of the fittest? Just go until you can't no more, for real. And this movie definitely answered it for me. This movie definitely answered that question for me. But yeah, honestly, it kind of breaks your heart as you just sit through it and just watch. Let me tell y'all something. I'm about to go to spoiler fam right now, but I just want to say there's a part with a hill in this movie. That part with the hill. The hill is the hill. King of the hill. Overall, I enjoyed this movie a lot. I did. I really did. But now it's time because my excitement has boiled over. It's time for the spoiler half of this discussion. Where my spoiler fam at? Spoiler fam, where you at? Spoiler fam. If you have not seen The Long Walk, you should turn this off now. This is your warning. Because we're going into the spoilers. I don't want to hear no nonsense about he's talking about the hill and the breaks, and who won and what happened with this character. I don't want to hear anything about it. This is the spoiler fam section. Spoiler alert. Do you hear me? Spoiler alert. If you have not seen it, The Long Walk, turn this podcast off now. Go watch the movie and come back. Are you still here? You're still here? Okay. So we all must be family. Spoiler fam. Where should we begin? Spoiler fam. Let's start with the questions. The bathroom, you don't get it. You don't get a chance to stop for the bathroom. This one dude had the dude with the runs, and he had to, quick, but he kept stop going. Yeah, he used his warnings up with that. And that last time he tried to hold it. They was trying to tell him, yo, just do it in your pants, dog. He couldn't do that. He just had to stop one last time, and that was his last time. Can you imagine the last thing that you do on earth is take a dump? That's the last thing you ever did, was take a smash. Lights out. That's the last part of your legacy. Smash. Lights out. And they was lighting them up too. It wasn't no aim for the head. No, they were lighting these dudes up like they were animals. Crazy work. One dude did take a smash successfully. He almost got caught. Y'all know who I'm talking about? Y'all know who I'm talking about. The one dude, the stop go dude, but the other dude who did the successful smash. I think that was I actually think that was Pearson. I think that was him. I think that was Pearson, y'all. Yeah, because he ain't white but nothing, and then they told him he's stinking and he need to get out of here. Yeah, that was the whole thing. So that's that. Now, to sleep. Let's go to the sleep. You cannot, they don't give you, I was thinking maybe they give them a few hours to sleep, and then maybe literally just a few hours, and then military, you got to get up and go. There's no snooze button, you get up now or we shoot you. That's what I was thinking. But no, they don't even get a sleep break. So homie Ray was having a dream, right? And so he's asleep. But he kind of wakes up and he's still walking. So he'd been sleepwalking for a little bit, and he's just exhausted. And he's about to give up. And Pete don't let him give up. He said, nah, you gotta make it with me. You gotta make it with me, Holmes. So this is something that I didn't even think about. Pete lets Ray kind of rest on him a little bit. And Pete is pretty much his legs for the most part. This is what I'm talking about. Connections. Like you, at that point, you're making a strong connection with a person that you want to get to the end with, but the end means that I have to watch you die or you have to watch me die. Like it's going to be heartbreaking. And I'm gonna talk about that in a second too. But yeah, Ray, you know, he just don't have the drive to go on no more. He wanna stop. And Pete like, no, I can't let you stop. Just rest on me, I got you. So they start walking like that. And they get to the incline hill. Yo. This hill, most of those young men died on that hill because they've already been walking for hours. Okay, they started when the sun was up. It's nighttime now. They've been walking constantly, non-stop, not slowing down for hours. And now they have to go up an incline hill. You want to talk about fighting an uphill battle? Most of them were wiped out on that hill. And I honestly didn't really know who was going to be safe. Except for our two guys. Once Pete let Ray kind of rest on him, I knew that they were chilling. But other than that, anyone can go. And anyone did go. The next morning, you know, I guess your man's Ray kind of caught that second win. Because he was feeling good. He was feeling better. He's going, you know, he did that little jump kick thing in the air, you know. He's feeling good about himself, you know, he's ready to go. Something else, they do give them rations. Like, you can ask for rations, some more water and more, you know, whatever that was, ration food, whatever little food they gave them. It wasn't nothing crazy. It was literally rations. Just enough so that you don't die without, you know, being outside of the rules of the walk, but that you don't die from like starvation or whatever. What did he have? Gum. Hank had gum. Now, when Hank started this thing, Hank, you know, was smart mouth, you know, but dude that you like though. Like sarcastic, smart mouth, but I rock with this dude. He was that guy. And at some point along this walk, he stopped talking. And he was kind of like curled up, shaking, walking. Like, I don't know what this walk did to him. He was the only one like that, yo. This walk messed him up. I was so nervous for him because he was like that for a while. He was curled up, not talking for a while. I thought when I first noticed it that he was about to, you know, slow down and get shot. Then no, he stayed like that for a while. Like a concerning amount of time. And he finally just couldn't go no more. And this was like the first heartbreak of the movie because this is one of our musketeers. This was the first heartbreak of the movie because I think he like tries to attack one of the soldiers and they shoot him like mid altercation, but they shoot him in his midsection, like in the gut. So at that point, they weren't going to shoot him again. They were just going to let him bleed out. So he's just on the ground now, just bleeding out, just in pain. And I'm like, yo, no. That's Hank. That's Hank. And Pearson is losing his mind. Pearson runs back, falls to the ground to Hank, and he's asking, like, what did you do? Why would you do this? You know, all this type of stuff. He's going through it. He is going through it, and he's about to go through all of his warnings, all 3 of them. Pause real quick. The warnings, from what I understood, reset after 3 hours. So you get your 3 warnings back like after 3 hours, to my understanding, right? If I'm wrong, let me know. But that's my understanding. Your rules, I mean, not your rules, your warnings do reset after 3 hours. So if you use 3 warnings, but you know, made it back up, if you can last 3 hours, you get your 3 warnings back. Okay, so yeah, I wanted to say that because I forgot to say that earlier in the beginning with the rules. But yeah, Pearson is just losing his mind. He's like, yo, because this is the homie. And this is what I'm talking about with the connection thing. You make these connections, but you know you're probably not going to make it. Or the person that you have a connection with now is probably not going to make it. And you have to witness this. And pause again, because I'm looking at the, you know, the list, the cast members. And I was noticing a face. And I was like, there's something about that one in the movie, but I can't remember, and I just remembered. So I just wanted to point that out. I'm going to get to it in a second. Excuse me, I'm sorry, y'all. About to have burp gang up in here. Spoiler fam and burp gang. No, we ain't doing that. Yeah, so Ray has to go back. Now, Pearson has gone back for our dying friend Hank. Hank's not gonna make it. Pearson still has a chance. He's forfeiting his chance, losing his mind over their friend that they are losing right now. But Ray can't lose Pearson too. Like, he's not gonna lose both of them at the same time in the same night. So Ray goes back for Pearson. And I'm freaking out because I'm like, yo, no. Because you know when the music kind of swells up and it just gets all intense, I'm like, yo, no. But Ray gets him under control. He gets him back. And they walk back. And he's just like, just don't look back. Or something like that. But he gets him back. So they make it. And the breath of relief that I had after that, I was like, yo, that was crazy. That was the first heartbreak of the movie. Now, about this person that I was talking about. This person I'm talking about is the first death of the movie, right? But this was kind of messed up too, because he was the youngest one there. Thomas. He was Thomas Curley. He was the youngest one there. He just had that innocent vibe about him, that bubbly vibe, and his personality and all of that. He was like very likable character, like the type of person like you just want to take care of this guy. And he, unfortunately, is our first death. His shoelace came untied, and he just had to tie it, and he was gone. He was gone. He used up all 3 of his warnings on that shoelace. He was out of here. So that's the first death. And then there's this other guy, like, kind of trips up or whatever. I forget how he trips up or whatever. I don't remember if he tried to attack one of the soldiers or something, but he ends up falling over, and he gets his legs run over by the tank. That's excruciating in itself. Whole time, they're still yelling at him, his number, first warning, second warning, third. I was like, yo, his legs are gone. He can't walk. Just shoot me. But yeah, so that's some crazy stuff. They did not care. Y'all signed up for this. Y'all got drafted. They didn't care. But yeah, Curly's death, that was sad because we just didn't expect him to be first. Like, not saying didn't expect him at all, but just didn't expect him to be first. That was just crazy. Hank is our first heartbreak, like I've been saying and I will say, because that's one of our Musketeers, yo. Now, did I think that Hank was going to make it to the end? No. But I'm just saying, that's our first heartbreak. Like, it was him. He was the first of the of the four Musketeers to go. He was the first of the clique to go. So that hurt. Let's go to Gary. Now let's go back to Gary. Gary, there's a lot to talk about. There's a lot to unpack with this. This is why I can't wait to get this to the spoiler fam. This is why I cannot wait to get with y'all, spoiler fans, so we can just go. I ain't gotta hold back with y'all. We could just go. And y'all know what I'm talking about. This is the other thing. Y'all know what I mean, because y'all saw it. And I saw it. So we could talk about it as a family. Because we're family here. Spoiler, family. Merch coming soon. Gary was the jerk of the bunch. It's always that one. Or maybe a couple, but definitely always the one who's just a jerk for no reason. This is just who you are. And who's he picking on? He's picking on this one guy. He made him so mad that dude tried to fight him. But in the midst of him trying to fight him, I think he tripped up and lost all his warnings, and he ended up getting shot. So now Gary is looked at as the murderer of the whole bunch. Like, yo, Gary, why did you do that? Like, you antagonized him to the point where he tried, to swing on you, but you caused that. You kept messing with, you caused that to happen, Gary. And Gary's like, no, that wasn't me. That wasn't me. Anytime you called him a murderer, all his jokes ceased if you called him a murderer after that. He just couldn't handle it. He said, no, it wasn't my fault. It wasn't my fault. He couldn't take it. I feel like there was something else I wanted to say about Gary. I can't think about it, so we're not going to linger on Gary too long. I don't want there to be too much open space on the mic. So, moving on. I'm not going to talk about every single person in this, in the group, because they don't really showcase every person in the group. Excuse me. But, there was one dude who was trying to write a book. He was trying to document, the long walk and all of that. He didn't make it. He made it way longer than I thought he was going to, but he didn't make it. Can you guys guess who made it to the end? Oh, I'm sorry. Y'all don't have to guess. Y'all spoiler fam. Y'all know who made it to the end. My bad. Anyway, but yeah, you remember the guy with the glasses? I didn't think he was gonna last as long as he did, but he hung in there for a minute. I don't remember how he died, but he died. I remember that one dude, just out of nowhere tried to run off the road into that whatever little store or whatever. He thought he was gonna make it. He didn't make it. They didn't care, yo. These are the rules. Y'all signed up for this. We picked y'all. This is what y'all want. Y'all wanted the chance to be number one, rich in the wish. So let's see if y'all could do it. Let's go to heartbreak number 2. And this one was a different type of heartbreak because it was a slow heartbreak. Pearson has had enough. He's done with the walk. He can't go no more, right? I remember he got some type of ailment. while they were walking, and they noticed it. Pete and Ray noticed it, and they were like, "Yo, what's going on with you?" Um, and I remember he was like, "Is it bad?" And it was like, "No, it's not bad." You know how they do. No, it's not bad. No, you good. It's gonna be right. But he's telling them like, "Yo, I think I'm done." And like, no, you gotta come on. You gotta come with us. He's like, "No, I'm done, y'all. I'm done." And I can't stress this enough. As much as, because this is the downfall of making a relationship and a thing like this, because there can only be one winner. And but that being said, the stakes are even higher because all of the losers have to die. So they're trying to tell him, convince him just to keep going, not just so that he can make it close to the end with them, but also because they are trying to prolong seeing another one of their friends die, or just anyone in the group die. Because every time someone died throughout the whole group, it stung everybody. They brought that up in the movies, like that part. There was like, how did they put it? I think they put it like, I thought that part would get easier. Talking about like whenever someone would die, they were like, I thought that part would get easier. I think Pete said that, and I think Ray responded, I'm afraid that it will. Or maybe it's vice versa. Maybe one of them said that and then the other. But yeah, one of them said, I thought that part would get easier. And then the other was like, I'm afraid that it will. Because you could become desensitized to things. But yeah, they're trying to prolong seeing another one of their friends die. That's the other thing about it. It's not just like, okay, let's just make it to the end together for the same outcome. But it's also like, yo, just stick with us for a little while longer, please. We don't want to see this. We don't want this to happen. But he's like, no, y'all, I've had enough. I'm done. And he asked them, just promise me one thing. Just don't watch him do it. And he's in the middle of them, right? It's just all three of them, and he's in the middle. And it's not like a slow scene, but it's just like the camera is just on them. And they're just talking. And it's just that moment, that finality of it. It's just like just don't watch them when they do it, y'all. Just promise me y'all won't watch. And then he gives Ray his cross necklace, his chain, and Ray puts it on because he was the church boy. Pearson was the church boy in the group. Yeah, Pearson was the church boy in the group. So me. Pearson was my guy. He struck a string with me. Pearson struck a string with me. We was the church boys. Yeah, man, that hurt. That also hurt. It just the way they did it. And I don't know if they did it on purpose like that because it was the Four Musketeers, but it was that slow burn, like that slow knife digging into your skin, just real slow. And then he gave up, and that was the end of Pearson. It was like, this is crazy. All right, so let's not let this episode go on for too long now. Let me start reeling some things in. Let me wrap it up. Now let's go back to Gary real quick. Gary is kind of on that same type thing, like the next day or whatever. Like he's kind of done. Gary's not wrapped too tight, honestly, and you can see it, especially in this moment. He's not wrapped too tight already, but also with, I guess, the guilt that he has because of homeboy from the beginning or whatever. He's trying to persuade Ray or get into Ray's good graces or whatever. Now that the Musketeers are kind of down in numbers, he's trying to like get in the good graces and everything. You know, he kind of wants this relationship type thing that they've been building. And he's like, yo, just put like a good word in for me and everything. And by the way, you know, I didn't mean for that thing to happen to dude way back when, all those miles ago. You know, I didn't mean all that. You know, he's tripping. He's freaking out. And Ray sees that. Now, as much of as, like I said, Gary's a certified jerk. But as much as he was a jerk, Ray kind of sees past that, and he kind of recognizes what's going on, and he's like, yeah, no, I got you, I believe you, you know, yeah, I'll put on a good word for you with Pete, yeah, you know, he's trying to keep this under control because we've already seen so many dudes die on this thing, even though we knew that was gonna happen, but once you experience that thing, that's a different monster. So he's trying to, you know, kind of tame this dude's insanity. Oh, sorry, my cat just kind of went under my feet. I didn't know where she went. She chilling right here with me here. My cat, just being a little sweetheart. Yeah, he's trying to cool this dude down. But the whole time when I was watching it, you know, Gary's kind of got his arm around Pete. I mean, not Pete, Ray, or whatever. He's kind of like leaning him. He's like too close for my comfort. Because I don't trust him. I never trusted him from the beginning. I don't trust Gary. I did not trust him. I didn't know what he was going to do. I thought he was going to try and pull a fast one and try to throw Ray down or something. I thought he was going to try and do some grimy, shady stuff. I didn't know. I don't trust this dude. But he didn't do anything. But I was, yo, if I could have went through the screen, I was ready for smoke. I was like, get off of him. That's what I kept saying. I was like, yo, get your hand off of him. I kept saying to like, get your arm off of him, yo. I didn't trust dude. But Ray kind of settles him down a little bit. He goes over. He's like, I'm going to put in a good word for you with Pete. Excuse me. I'm sorry, y'all. I am so sorry. He goes over there and puts a good word in for Pete. And Ray kind of looks at it. And if he tries to settle himself down, but he just can't. He spirals out of control. He gets a gun. He gets one of the soldiers' guns and he shoots himself. Unhinged. Freaked out. So that was Gary. And even as much of a jerk as he was, I didn't want to see him go. I didn't want to see none of them go. It did not get easier to watch any of them get executed. Even Gary. I didn't want to see that. That sucked. And it sucked how it happened too. Like, you freaked out that much. I was like, Gary, chill. I was like, no way. When he put that gun to his head up under his chin, I was like, Gary, don't do this. But he did it. All right, now we got to get to Major. We got 2 more things to do before we get to the finale. I don't even know how long this episode is going on right now. Hold on. Let me see. How long we been here? We've been here good. Not even an hour yet. 40. We almost there. All right. So let's see if we can wrap this up in an hour. But here it is. There is. First, let's talk about Ray and the Major. Ray has a major problem with the Major, and we find out what it is. You know, through conversations with Pete and Ray. You know, Pete's whole thing has been like, this moment. This moment right now is what matters. This moment. And we learned some stuff about Pete, his upbringing and everything, and why he's so big on this moment. Why this moment is so important. This moment, this moment. And Ray's thing is like, he's doing this for like a specific reason. He wants to win for a specific reason. And it's not even the money. It's more about that wish. Excuse me. It's been a long day. I'm sorry. It's about that wish. When they were talking about that wish and what they would use that wish for, when they was all talking, man, if I win, with that man, I'm going to get that wish. And I'm going to use my wish to do this, X, Y, and Z. Ray had a reason, and he didn't disclose it to the group. But in private, he told Pete, because that's his boy. And what he tells Pete is, his dad, now we can go back to what I was about to spoil in the beginning of the show. So the government's weird. Whatever they've changed in the government in this world that the story takes place, they've done away with the old ways of the government, like how you say, how we're living in real life. And they have whatever new government. That's the best way I can put it. They've done away with the old way, and they ignore it, and they don't allow it to be taught, and they don't want, it to be spoken about. It's all about what's happening now. Ray's dad knew about the old way, the way that things used to be. And he would teach Ray. But the major found out, and he showed up at their house. And he's telling them, Ray's dad, they pull him out the house, throw him on the ground, all that, over the top, aggressive stuff, all that, throw him on the ground and everything. He's on his knees. And the major, he's got him at gunpoint. He's telling him, just renounce everything that you're talking about, renounce it. And this can be over. And we can just go on about our lives. Or don't. And I kill you right now. And Ray's dad stood on business. And he said no. He shot him on the spot. So Ray wants revenge. This is what this is about for Ray. So this has been eating at him the whole time. He hates the major. And Pete noticed that there was something going on with Ray and the major. And I didn't even pick up on it, but Pete noticed it. He's like, what's up with you and the major? And that's why Ray ended up telling him. And then Pete tells him, he's like, yo, so what you gonna do? Ray wants to use the wish for, along with the money, if he wins, he wants to use the wish for a rifle. And he's going to shoot and kill the major on the spot. And they're trying to, no, not there. Pete's trying to tell him, do you know what they would do to you if you did that? And he's like, I'm sorry, excuse me. He's like, I don't know what they would do. It's never been done. I guess. Solid argument. I guess. But Pete's trying to tell him, like, yo, you tripping, dog. You after vengeance. You don't know what they could do to you if you even win. Like, no. Pretty much like, no. Like, don't do that. And then later on, I guess Ray's had time to think about it and everything. And he's like, you know what, you're right. I'm not going to do that. I was tripping. I'm not going to do that. And at one point, Ray Ray sees his mom on the pass by. They're walking through town. I guess that's the town that they live in or whatever. And Ray sees his mom And she's, waving. She's so happy to just see that he's still alive. And Ray loses it. He runs over. He almost runs off the road, y'all. But, he's, screaming not screaming at her, but he's like, so apologetic. He's like, I'm so sorry. I put myself into this position, all of that. Like, I'm sorry that you had to go through this too. He's just apologizing profusely. Like, he's, like, in that moment, he knows I messed up. Sorry. I messed up big time. He's like, I'm so sorry, whatever. I love you, all that. And she's like, it's okay, just keep going. Whole time, he's just standing in one spot. So he's using up his warnings. And Pete has to go get him. Because when I tell y'all, he almost ran off the road. He was about to get shot on the spot in front of his mom. Pete had to come get him. Like, yo, don't do this here. Not in front of her. Just keep walking with me. So there's this other dude who's been quiet pretty much the whole movie. He may have said a couple things here and there. But he hasn't, made any connections. He hasn't shared any of his opinions. Nothing like that. He's been pretty quiet and pretty much to the back the whole movie. But now, there's a part of the movie where it's only that guy, Pete, and Ray. They're the last three. Well, this dude's ready to stop. But before he stops, I can't apologize enough. I'm apologizing to y'all like Ray was apologizing to his mom. I don't know why I have gas on the show. But I do. Hopefully, there will be a day where I sit down to record an episode and I don't have gas. But that day's just not today. It's the human body. It's the human body. So he relays some information to our boys, Pete and Ray. And basically, in a nutshell, he's the Major's, at least one of the Major's bastard sons. Or bastard children. And for his wish, he was going to ask to be, brought in as a son. And that the Major would be his father. That was going to be his wish. He just wanted a daddy. That's all. He just wanted a dad. Sorry about the gas. He just wanted a pop. He just wanted a father. However you say dad, he just wanted a dad. He just got daddy issues. That was his thing. He got daddy issues. He just wanted a dad. He just wanted his dad. But he gives up. He stops walking. Shot on the spot. Not on the spot, but he went through his warnings and then shot. So now it's our boys who we saw from the beginning, and now we're at the end. It's Pete and Ray. Now in my mind, I was thinking about this like 30 minutes, maybe 40 minutes before we got to this point. I'm like, okay, I think that it's gonna be them at the end. The question is who's gonna die and how are they gonna do it? So I'm thinking Ray's gonna make it. How was I thinking about it? Because I had two thoughts. I was like, one of two things can happen. I thought either... No, this is what I thought. I thought either one of them dies before the end. Like before the final two. One of them goes before the other. Or both of them make it to the end and we have to see which one of them make it. That's what I thought. One of those two was going to happen. And it turned out to be that second one. They both make it to the end. And Pete's like, I'm ready. And Ray, he's telling him, like, I'm ready to go. Like, I want you to have it. And the way that they kind of set it up, for me not reading the book, just watching the movie, the way that they kind of set it up and put it together, I'm thinking, like, because remember, I also said I thought Ray was like the main. Among the two, I thought Ray was the main. So I'm thinking, all right, Pete's gonna relinquish, like, all his, winnings, or chances of winnings, I should put it that way, and let his friend, take the gold. Because now Ray has, he's told Pete about what he wanted to do. Pete told him he was tripping, because a real friend will tell you when you tripping. And then Ray changed his mind. He's like, you know what, she was right. I don't want to do that no more. Sorry again. If y'all can actually hear it through the mic too, which y'all probably can, because I don't have I didn't put the pop filter on the mic, so it's pretty sensitive. But yeah, so yeah, Ray's changed his mind. He don't want to kill the Major no more. So now we don't really know what his wish would be now. He probably doesn't either. He probably just wants to make it out of this. Probably just wants to go home. So I'm thinking at that point when Pete's like, I'm done, it's time, and Ray's like, just a little while longer. And Pete's like, okay, I'll go. He's like, okay, I'll go a little longer. And then Pete proceeds to talk. He doesn't realize that Ray has stopped walking. And I'm thinking, don't stop. Like, don't do this back and forth thing where y'all both try to stop and then, no, don't do that. Don't play with me like that. Stop. Pete turns around, finally noticing that Ray stopped walking, and now Ray is like, I'm done. And they kill Ray. I didn't realize when they start rambling off warnings, I didn't realize how many warnings either of them had for themselves. And it felt, I don't even remember what they called, but Ray didn't have a lot. So they shot him way quicker than I thought they were going to. And I was like, no, he didn't make it. He doesn't get to go back home to mom. None of that. He doesn't make it back home. He doesn't win the gold. He doesn't get a wish. Nothing. So Pete is the winner. And the crazy part is that for the final kill, the Major does it. The Major wants to personally pull the trigger for the last kill. This is a sick man. So now that Pete has won, everyone's celebrating. They're in the what do you call it? The not residential, but at the final stretch, you're in the part of the walk where all the people are actually out. For the whole rest of the walk, no one is out. Maybe like a couple people every few miles, maybe. But for this one, no, it's lights, camera, action. For the final stretch, it's lights, camera, action. Everyone's out. It's Broadway. It's New York. It's the Big Apple. Everyone wants to see, and this whole thing is broadcast too. Everyone's been watching. They're watching it like it's the Super Bowl. They've been watching this whole thing like it's the Super Bowl, and they don't walk like 32 miles. Or 32 miles? Or 300 miles, or something like that. Something with a 3. I don't remember. So they've been walking for a while. 32 miles don't sound right though. Maybe it's 300, but maybe it's not. I don't know. They've been walking for a lot of miles. A lot of miles. They've been walking for like 2 days. And Pete has won, and everyone's cheering him on. I had to gather my thoughts. And the major, congratulates him and presents him with his wish. And you know what Pete asked for? I forget what Pete's original wish was that he said earlier. But this is what Pete asked for. He said, I want that rifle. There's a soldier standing behind the major. He said, I want that rifle. No, he said, I want a rifle. And the major's like, all right, son, we can get you a rifle. And Pete's like, no, I want that rifle. When he said that, I was like, oh, snap, he's going to do it. He takes the rifle, he points it at the major. He tells everybody, don't, or I'll shoot. And the major's like, relax. Whole time, Major's just chilling. Not chilling, but he's calm. Relax. Now put the gun down. No harm's been done yet. You don't want the gold? Don't throw it away. I'm sorry. I'm going to bed after this, y'all. Yo, my bad. I'm having a good time, but I'm just holding on like the long walk. I'm just holding on a little longer. He's like, just don't throw it away. Don't throw it away. And you can see Pete kind of thinks about it for a second. But he pulled that trigger though. He sure did pull that trigger. And after he pulled that trigger, I thought they were about to unleash on him. And they didn't. They did not kill him. He walked away. And then the movie ends right there. Now y'all gotta tell me, this is what I need y'all to tell me. Is there a sequel book? Because I'm not even gonna hold y'all. I don't feel like looking it up right now. I don't. I need somebody to tell me, is there a sequel book to The Long Walk? Because that's how the movie just ends. He just walks off, cold, drops the mic, done. And that's it. This movie was more of a wreckage than I thought it was going to be. I didn't think I was going to feel this hard in this movie, but I did. Yo, Hank, Pearson, those are your boys. Ray. I was hurt, but I enjoyed myself at the theater, and that's all I can ask for. Every time you go, that's all you can ask for. It's just that I be entertained. Even sometimes when a movie is not good, but you're like, but I was entertained though. So you still got some enjoyment out of your, out of your experience. And that's all you can ask for at the movies. You just want to be entertained. You want to be pleased, but at least entertain me. And this movie not only entertained me, but I was pleased. So that's a good thing. I enjoy this movie. I hope you enjoyed this movie, and I hope that you enjoyed this episode of Let's Look at the Tape. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you again next time. Peace out.